I was I don't even know. Like I think I was in like various different stages of grief, emotion. I don't know how to put it. Devastation is probably the best way to put it. Our team did not say a single word in that van. We were all quiet. Um, we all had put in so much time, and to just see it go to waste is truly a devastation.
Out of the 8,761 teams that competed in the First Tech Challenge Decode season, only 336 teams actually compete at the First World Championship. This leaves 8,425 teams that haven't qualified. Each team has a season of late nights, broken parts, and hope, and the Mechanical Huskies are one of those 8,425 teams. Our dream ended quietly in a gym on Saturday, February 21st at the Missouri-Kansas West Super Qualifier. While the season ended, the Huskies' story didn't end there.
When I wanted to start a team, it's a different program from FRC. So that resulted in basically me having to do more research on this program itself. So I knew a friend named Liam Stewart. He was at Blue Valley High. He was a senior who did the same kind of program I wanted to start at Blue Valley High. Over the summer, I did a lot of the funding work to get this team started. We all know robotics is a very expensive activity. So I did a lot of the funding work for grants, reaching out to as many companies as I could, and various other things to do to ensure that this team was sustainable for many years to come, and to support my passion for robotics at the school level and provide other students at Blue Valley Northwest the outlet for creativity and critical thinking. So one of the main struggles I had with the team was simply just the lack of experience. I remember going to one of my engineering teachers, and she was not very happy with the idea of starting a robotics team. And the reason was because, and she had very valid reasoning. It was, sponsors were tapped, funding was funding was hard to get because sponsors, were supporting other STEM programs. Getting a teacher to sponsor the club was going to be hard, and getting everyone involved on the team was very difficult. And this was from our prior experience, and I completely respected that. But the reality is that every teacher at our school was already supporting some kind of program. My engineering teacher was already doing various other programs that would take up her time. And then, like a lot of other STEM teachers, they're busy, they have personal obligations. They probably don't want to spend 2 to 3 hours after each school day to do robotics. So I talked to Gabe, and he was like, hey, I think I know someone, like my advisory teacher. He's kind of new, and, generally new teachers don't have as much as on their plate because all they're doing is teaching, and then, that's kind of all they have going on at the moment.
So I found Mr. Hora, who at that time was a completely new teacher. So he was like, I'm gonna wait a year and see like how my teaching career plays out, like to like get used to everything first, and then like from there I kind of asked him again, and then he went like, yeah, I'll do it, I'll try it out.
I know that talking to Mr. Hora today, he does not regret this decision at all, and he said it's one of the best decisions of his life. And I'm glad that I made that decision, and it's the best decision I've made in my life is starting a team. But I'm also glad that others feel the same way, especially my coach. I think one story that I have is that one time he brought pumpkin pie for the team, and I feel like that's something very small, but it really made a huge difference in in I guess the way we kind of thought about robotics. So after robotics, we're all hungry, and the thought of bringing a pumpkin pie to us tasted great, by the way. But he cared about the students just as much as the team. Each individual student, he makes sure that they're feeling involved, they're feeling engaged, and most importantly, they are genuinely enjoying robotics. He tries to balance everyone's interests on this robotics team. He doesn't let one overpower the other. And he's done a great job in doing that, and that's one of the memories is bringing that pumpkin pie. Might be a kind of a small moment that might be on the surface level, but in reality it shows how much he truly cares about the students and is willing to, go out of his day to support us in various different ways.
So as a rookie team, we really didn't have the parts to build everything, and we were building at a higher level than we were before at for example, FLL, which is First Lego League. So we really needed to get parts, and these parts are expensive. We spent probably $10K that year just to get all the parts in, and it took a lot to ship. It took months to ship, and we actually got our electronics the day before competition. So first meet last year was really rough because we put everything on, we wired everything, and we didn't know how to do any of it since we were a new team. So it was kind of like a mix of lack of experience and also like just not having the parts to build.
The pressure was a little bit kind of high, especially during last year when it was our rookie year. I had a lot of pressure since I didn't know the most, but I had a lot of like prior experience in robotic, or not a lot in FTC especially, but there's just a lot of pressure, right, as the co-captain. And when other students on your team have no idea what FTC even it really is and how to build a robot, well, I can't really, as a leader, I can't lead something if I don't even know anything about it, or I can't teach something. I didn't know how to build a robot, and if I don't know how to build a robot, I can't teach it. So I think it's one of those things I truly regret as like a co-captain, is like I should have done a way better job of that. Luckily, I'm doing a lot better of a job now since I have more time on my hands, as well as our team does, to then start teaching more, getting them more involved on the engineering design process and robotics overall.
And I didn't know much about robotics at the time, so I wasn't sure, but I knew it would be a good opportunity. So that is why I joined the team. And I feel like it has helped me throughout a lot over the years that I've been in it. And I feel like it helped me like learn coding and stuff. So I feel like the reason I joined was to learn a lot more stuff than I do now.
Were there any struggles for you personally when you first joined the team?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't know how to do much of the stuff, so I didn't know how to code or CAD or build efficiently or fast. But Gabe, Shreejan, Rowan, and all, like, they guided me, teaching me how to CAD, how to code, how to build, which helped me become a youth mentor to help all the other ones with all the basics and the needs they'll need for the later years after we graduate. Last year, it was our rookie season, so we had a lot of troubles. But one prominent one was our electrical, like our wiring. It was like all tangled during competitions, which caused our things to get plugged out from like intense pulling pressure of the tanglement.
The reality is we just didn't know a lot, right? So initially there was just this huge experience gap that resulted in our initial robots being pretty poor, I would say. Especially at our first competition. I mean, we had no idea what was going on. Rules, like we didn't even look into the rules that detailed, or into that deep, or like that deeply in the game manual. The reality is a lot of the main members were in their junior year. Me, Rowan, Gabe, a lot of us, right? And for me, I was spending over like 40 hours a week doing FTC, and that sounds insane, and that might not be believable at all. But believe me, I was catting at home every day for 5 hours, coming home catting, because I loved it so much, and I knew that we were so behind, or not behind, but we knew that there was such a big experience gap that the only way to actually get through that gap wasn't necessarily through, just watching videos or anything, but simply just doing. And eventually we were able to close that experience gap as competitions went on because we were learning so much and doing so much and devoting so much time. This process of iteration and growth is what then led us to overcome these struggles of this experience gap and then make it all the way to state eventually. So the robotics season for FTC is pretty spread out, I would say. It's from September and it can go all the way up to April depending on how far you qualify. The game comes out usually the first Saturday of September, and then your first competition, it consists of 6 matches. Each match is a 2-minute and 30-second match usually, and then your robot's trying to complete the tasks of that game effectively during that match. So the first competition is usually in November, but it can be in December, it kind of depends. So there's 3 competitions, I would call them mini competitions, from November to early January. These competitions have 6 matches each, which result in a total of 18 matches. They take the 10 best matches that your robot performs, and then they use those 10 matches to rank you at the league tournament. We actually went 5-1 at league. We had a really solid robot. The reason was because we could actually do both aspects of the game. We could score specimens and score high baskets, which allowed us to be very flexible with teammates, and that gave us a huge advantage. So we went 5-1. Losing that we lost our last qualification match. However, we won the Innovate Award, which qualified us to the Super Qualifier. We went 4-2. We had some very unfortunate things happen at that competition, including our intake claw shearing in half, like at our second qualification match. Our arm claw broke, like literally the last match, or the last qualification match. But we went 4-2. Eventually, we get to awards and we win the second place Inspire Award, which directly qualified us to state. And that made us obviously very joyful. And the moment that like really defined it was when I heard our name. I stood up, and because our team didn't know that that award would qualify us, because a lot of our team was focused on was trying to win the competition, because we knew that would qualify us. I was like the only one who kind of knew the idea that like winning an Inspire Award would get us to the state championship. So I literally got up. I'm like, we qualified for state, and our coach was like going crazy. Our team was going crazy. We go, We go get the award, we go take pictures, and we're all hyped up as always.
We actually got to state last year, and our bot unfortunately broke down due to an issue with electrical that we, as a rookie team, could not have known. Basically, it was like we powered one of the motors too much, and we set the limit. It was over the limit of the voltage, so like it was completely like we could not have known without any experience.
So we made it all the way to state, and during state there was the electrical issue, obviously, and we disconnected a lot. And since that, we lost a lot of matches, and our ranking fell down under, like, to the bottom 10 rankings. So not many teams would pick us at the playoff section, and because of that, we were pretty sad. But I would say that for a first year going to state, it was good, but I feel like we could have made a better bot.
And we were all incredibly devastated, but we kind of knew that we had one more year to, learn, gain experience, really figure out what went wrong this season, make those corrections, and then apply to this season. So coming into this season, we all were like hungry to go to Worlds. I mean, I came into this final year, and I have a paper that has a lot of my goals that I wanted to achieve in high school. This was connected to, DECA, a club that I do, and also various other academics activities that I do. And I was able to check off all of them. There was one goal that I wanted to start robotics at the elementary and middle school level, because that was a gap I noticed as a middle schooler, and then we were even able to do that. So the last box that was unchecked was going to Worlds. For FTC specifically, FRC I just knew it was kind of hard, so I kind of wanted to gear it to FTC because I knew I had a chance. I knew that we had such a strong team, such strong members. So our goal was to qualify for the Houston World Championship and compete at a high level. We knew we could do that. We knew we had the potential, passion, time. We were willing to do anything it takes to get there. So that was our goal. And before we got to that goal, obviously over the summer leading up to this season, was I did a lot of funding work, again, reaching out to companies, applying for grants to get more funding that would allow us to get more robust parts and advanced parts that would allow us to even level up our robot further.
So the game for this season was Decode. Basically, it's where you have these balls of a green and purple color, and you have to shoot them into like a goal place, which gets you points. Basically, based on the balls, there's like a pattern of either like green, green, purple, 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 green, and you have to shoot them in that order as well to get more points.
We actually started out pretty well. We really didn't face any challenges because the game was relatively simple. We maybe like a couple of the challenges were 3D printing. Obviously, that took a while to figure out, especially with like fitting axles into like 3D prints and fitting bearings. Like the tolerances had to be worked out, and then also we had a 8 motor limit for this game, so we had to really manage that as well.
So early in the design process, one of the things we really struggled with was understanding how to build just a cohesive robot design. We had these initial prototypes working. We were able to intake the ball. We knew how to shoot it. We built a basic flywheel hooded system. But one of the issues was the transfer system, because it's like you kind of need the intake and the flywheel to understand how a transfer system works. And it was just really hard to integrate into a robot design. We really struggled with that since it was just the prototypes individually worked, but then how do you get it together in an 18-inch by 18-inch by 18-inch robot?
I think we're doing pretty good. Like, prototypes are working. We got a robot design going. I'm teaching CAD, so clearly time-wise we're doing a lot better this season. I would say we're in a good spot just because like of the other teams I've talked to, they're still in prototype stage and we're almost done, so feel pretty good.
What are you gonna buy the team to eat if you win your first competition?
If we win, well, we can't win the meet, but if we go 6-0, I don't know. I'll see. I'll probably get donuts or I don't know. I'll take a vote.
Okay.
I don't know what I'll buy yet, but if we win, something big's gonna happen.
Okay. About the meet yesterday, how do you feel like it went?
Pretty poorly. Like, we just didn't do as good as we wanted to. The robot decided to have like diabetes and a seizure match 3 and like match 4, and then by match 5 it just died. So like that wasn't great. We have like probably 10 issues to fix, and that's like not an exaggeration. So yeah, we're just gearing up for meet 2.
What are you gonna do today to help fix issues?
We're gonna first debug all the miscellaneous problems we had that aren't related to code or mechanical, which is like software and Wi-Fi. And then from there, we're just going to try and be more systematic with our meetings and try and approach each problem with like more thought so that we actually fix it and don't just like temporarily fix it. And we'll go from there.
After the first meet, we didn't do so bad, but I feel like we didn't have much time to give our coders to code. We only gave them like a week or a few days. So my mindset was like we should have better time management for the next meet, which was a week later.
So after our first meet, we went 3-3 actually. We were really disappointed because we knew we had a robot design that was really that was pretty good. Like, I mean, we weren't expecting to go 6-0 first meet, but I don't know, 4-2, 5-1. Our programmer wasn't there, unfortunately, so our software was just like really cooked. Like, for example, we didn't have like a delay in our code, which resulted in our driving being like completely cooked, so we couldn't drive properly. So we were pretty disappointed, but we weren't too concerned because at the end of the day, these 3 competitions, they only take your 10 best matches. So having a few bad matches is completely okay since, you know, you have a lot of other matches to kind of play with.
So, what are your emotions during a robotics meet? What's going through
So,
your head? What are you thinking, especially as the lead?
Yeah. Personally, I'm incredibly nervous. Like, I'm genuinely more nervous than if I were to like give a speech to like thousands of people. And that might sound weird, but that's how passionate I am about FTCs, like competing at a high level. I love robotics, I love building robots, I've loved working with teammates, and going to competitions kind of puts that all together, and I have this sense of nervousness that enters me. So I'm incredibly nervous. Like, I'll wake up in the morning and I'm like so nervous. Like, I'll wake up immediately. It's like we'll have to wake up 5:30 a.m. in the morning for that league tournament. For meets maybe like 7 a.m. And I'm so nervous because I want to do as the best we can at this competition, and I'm just nervous about, okay, what if this happens on a robot, or this breaks, or this coding change doesn't work. These like concerns kind of overwhelm my mind. So at the robotics competition, I'm always kind of stressed or nervous. So the competitors at our meets, I would say we had a lot of initial competition. Those teams include like 9808 Chargers, Stealth 21536, C-Tech Orion 23785. Those were like the top robots at our meets, I would say. And we kind of like, obviously we don't really have beef or anything. Our team likes to, you know, be gracious professionals. We want to make sure that we interact properly with teams. So, you know, they were our top competitors, but, you know, what we did is we like to learn from them as well. We took pictures of their robots, kind of asked them some questions to try and make our robot a lot better. So that's kind of how we like learn from our top competitors.
They're all really nice. Like, I think the interactions it's a really good community to be part of. So
I think this meet we'll do a lot better because we have our programmers.
Is this broken? What is this?
What? Oh yeah, that's broken. So we can troubleshoot a lot better because we have our coder.
Hello there.
I was changing code last time, which is
You were changing?
literally a recipe for disaster because like, yeah, you don't want me coding.
So what's your prediction?
Ready for this meet?
Prediction?
Yeah.
I would say I'm not gonna give a prediction because last time I gave a prediction and it went horrendously wrong.
I feel good about Robot, you know? We're in a good place right now as long as nothing goes wrong, but I feel like we can do at least 500, but I think honestly we're one of the better bots there and we know that, but that's just confidence, not anything cocky. So I hope it goes well, but we'll see.
Yeah, we beat like all the good teams. Like we actually had a pretty hard schedule. Like we were playing a lot of good teams.
We beat like 4 of the top. I think we beat 2 of the top 5 bots in the league.
Yeah.
2 of the top 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, it's not like we got lucky with matchups or anything. Like, we purely went, I would say purely went 6-0. After the success of our second meet, we went 6-0, which was obviously a very strong performance. We were in the mindset of, okay, there's still a lot of things we can change on this robot, but we don't need to completely redesign the entire concept of it. What we did is we kept a lot of different things and just kind of made mechanical adjustments that would allow us to give our programmers enough time to code, which of course never happens. No matter how much we say it, it never happens.
Well, we were pretty hyped. We were like, at this rate, we were ahead of the pace at that rate. So we were like basically on the pace with the top teams in the world.
Okay, so that is our most prominent meet this season, since we went 6-0, which means we won 6 matches and lost none of them. And I feel like my mindset was like, we're going good, but don't get a little too confident, because everything everything can change during the next meet, right? Like, you don't know what could happen during a meeting where your bot, like, just messes up or something that didn't happen during the meet, right? Because the first 3 meets are just there. Like, you usually meet the same people, same teams there, right? And then in league, it's when it changes, right? But that second meet, my mindset was like, yeah, we're doing good. I think we can continue doing better, because 6-0 is like a really good record, and we were ranked #1 at that competition, #1 in the state itself, and we were top 100 in the world. So it was looking good for our next outcome. So I think my mindset was like up there.
Like kind of mid, so I'm just trying to rebuild it. But the honest answer is, we just think like that robot kind of reached its limit. Also, the drivetrain's like pretty weird. Like some of the channels are like bowing and stuff. So we're like, okay, let's just do a custom frame. And at that point, we might as well just redesign the whole bot. So we just think like redesigning is just the best way for us to go right now for the league tournament and just kind of test some stuff.
Hey, what's different about this new robot?
We're doing a sorter. We're adding some optimizations to like the driving through like odometry pinpoint. I made some improvements to the flywheel, and then the intake's completely different.
There's a hole there for it.
Yeah.
They didn't do it big enough so it broke initially. So then it was, so it like slid in, and then it didn't work. So they did not cut it.
Hey, does your code work on first try? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It took you like how many hours was it? Let's see. 6 on Monday.
6, 7.
6 on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So do you like
Yeah.
every
Another
once a
5,
year,
so
you
like-
just like do a complete
All I'm
chicken
saying
wing?
is code
17
doesn't take
hours.
first
Yeah.
try. Neither does mechanical. Mechanical's not first try. That's all I'm saying. So we kind of had noticed issues on our second bot. Just because you go 6-0 doesn't mean your bot was perfect by any means. One thing is we wanted to redesign was our flywheel kept missing some shots, so our balls weren't like usually our first 2 balls would go in, and since you can store 3 artifacts, 3 balls at a time, our third one would often miss due to recovery time. So we redesigned the flywheel to use 2 motors, and then made adjustments to the compression to ensure that there was really good backspin on it, and we could shoot all 3 balls consistently.
No, we were pretty confident because I already built like most of the bot that it's catted. We used Fusion 360 to cat up the bot, so it was already pretty complete, and all we had to do was manufacture the parts and build it.
After every time we change the bot, I'm nervous because at the end of the day, right, there's just some things you don't know until you try it. And that feeling is in robotics, it's prevalent in every process. You don't know until you know. You don't know until you try it. And we tried various different things, and as we approached the competition, certain things weren't working. So I was getting more and more nervous. Once we got everything working, I was feeling confident, but again, a little nervous because our programmers didn't have as much time as we had wanted to program everything. So my emotion during the league tournament was, it's the most nervous I had been. Like, I was literally shaking when I woke up in the morning. That's how much I love FTC. I think throughout this documentary and this interview, I think that is genuinely I think these kind of actions my behavior shows a lot about how much I care, right? So I was really nervous, and to be honest, I wasn't confident in the slightest. Our robot wasn't working at all. We had done this really risky redesign, and it really didn't work out, to be honest, if we're gonna be genuine here.
Okay, how ready do you think you guys are for the league tournament?
Not ready at all.
Why do you say that?
Because we're still obviously working on the bot, and we should be driving it.
So we're definitely a little bit behind. Not fully concerned though, because our program is just the GOAT, and coded a lot of it at home and stuff. So I think we're in a recoverable position at least. I'm just a little worried mechanically some things aren't the way we want it to be. So.
The teams at the league tournament here have really upgraded their bot in a lot of ways. For example, the Chargers Robotics have completely redesigned their bot, and now they can rapid fire really quickly. Cook, this is the end of the season, and we're switching to FRC. If you want to come over, talking to FRC, we'll be locked in.
Judges, we need to lock in, bro. Come on, give us some more.
I paid off the judge.
So were you just in your head when you looked like you guys might be eliminated? Were you just kind of that's it? What was down?
Yeah. So as we got eliminated from the playoffs, we somehow got picked, right? I was genuinely concerned. I was devastated, right? But luckily that changed, because what happens is after our first two playoff matches we lost, I was genuinely devastated. We were like, we're not going to qualify. Well, we thought we'd be okay simply because making it to the playoffs now gets you points. The format is completely changed now, so it's like a point style format. So you get more points as the farther you progress into the playoffs and as you win awards. And when they were announcing the advancement, the people who advanced to state and super qualifier, it was getting a bit risky. They were going to call out about 13 teams for super qualifier. We were like the 9th or 10th team to qualify, and we were like, I feel like we should be higher, but we qualified. We were definitely nervous. We were like, are we not going to qualify even after winning Inspire? I'm like, that's concerning. But luckily we did, had an okay robot performance plus Inspire third qualified us to that super qualifier.
So super qualifiers is like a side competition where the people who don't make it to state have a second chance at making it to state through this qualifier. And basically everything gets restarted. So you played your matches, you play 6 matches, and whatever your placing is, you get you either get to select or you get chosen, or you don't get chosen and you get eliminated. So and then the top 6 teams or something qualifies for state.
So to make sure that super qualifier went better than our league tournament, one of the things we ran into was disconnection. So our robots started to disconnect a lot, and this was due to electrostatic discharge, or commonly called static. What we did is we took a lot of measures, such as anti-static spray, using dryer lint sheets. Shout out Xbots, they told us to use that, and that really helped actually at our super qualifier. We took literally every precaution we possibly could to reducing static. The worst thing you can do, or the worst thing that can happen, is you go into the competition with probably the best robot in the world. You could do that, right? We didn't, obviously, but you could, and your robot just disconnects because of static. Something that is really hard to control. So we took literally every possible measure to control static, which included dryer lint sheets, ferrite clips. I don't think that helps with static, but it could have been something that we thought of. So we took every precaution, wiring it better. So that's the first thing we did. We took every possible precaution because we knew that disconnections could ruin our entire tournament, no matter how much of a great robot that we designed. To make Super Qualifier better, we knew that we needed to give our programmers at least 2 weeks. We knew that 1 week isn't enough because sometimes programming isn't just like programming something and seeing it work. It can work, but you need to tune it. Programming takes tuning, it takes iteration. It's just like mechanical. It takes iterations, it takes versions, it takes a process. If you don't give programmers the time to go through that process, at the competition, your robot will just be inconsistent. It'll work, but it's going to be inconsistent.
So super qualifiers, I felt like this would be a good restart, because super qualifiers, everything restarts. Your original records are not there. It's 0-0 and you start anew. So I was feeling pretty confident because our static was gone. Our practice match went well. So then when we started the day off, we lost our first match, but it was pretty close. And then we kept winning and losing. We went 3-3. And I feel like we could have done better, but I feel like it wasn't bad. We still had a chance to get picked. But then when we weren't picked, it was pretty sad. I was like, I don't think this is going to work.
Well, we got really unlucky, which, I guess luck is a pretty big factor during the Super Quals, since you only get 6 matches to see or 6 matches to place, and then you're gonna have to talk to a lot of teams during then to to hopefully get selected. So we just got really unlucky because the top 6 teams were just not the best, and we got placed really low, so it didn't look good for us, and it was just like all the stars didn't align.
So, that day is probably one of the worst days of my life. It was terrible. We gave it so much effort, time tuning, and our first match, sorted gear breaks. We come back and fix it. Sure, right? And I'm like, you know what? If our sorted gear is breaking the first match, what's gonna happen our second match? What's gonna happen our third match? It brought more self-doubt. It brought more nervousness to me. Everyone else was fine, but me personally, I've seen this narrative before. Something breaks your first match, and then something else will continue to break. It's like a chain of reactions, and that's exactly what happened. Second match, I think our shooter was being really weird, or our turret wasn't spinning. Third match, I think we're starting to shoot, but we're missing shots. Fourth game, we are somehow having a good match, but then our fifth match, shooter stops working again. We genuinely had zero clue what the issue was. our turret was somehow aiming like 5 degrees to the right, but I wasn't like, I'm not gonna blame my programmer for that. That's not his fault, because we literally tuned it at the practice field at Northwest at our school for like multiple days, and it was working beautifully. I could literally show you a video of us shooting 40 artifacts, but at the competition field, for some reason, we can maybe score like 10 because a robot breaks, or our software is being weird, or our turret's being weird, or shooting's being weird, and it's just this series of unfortunate events that happen. And the most poetic ending of all is that our robot disconnects the last match. So, after not making the playoffs, I was devastated. I knew that qualifying was pretty much out of the equation. I was genuinely devastated. I wasn't crying yet, but I was devastated. I was literally looking down at the gym floor, just confused with life. And I guess I wouldn't call this iconic, but one of the most scariest things that my coach told me was like, or not my coach told me, but my coach has seen me in, was when we got that judging rubric. So obviously we're in the playoffs, so a lot of us were eating lunch. I was at the pit still, kind of just like really obviously concerned, really incredibly devastated, of course. So I'm sitting on the bleachers, I'm just like looking down at the gym floor, and the judging rubric comes by. So he opens the first page, not a great scoring ranking. Second page, he's a little bit happier about it. So he hands the judging rubric to me, and I look through it, and for 5 minutes straight, I'm going around to my teammates saying, we didn't qualify for state. Like, in a very frantic and afraid tone. The best way to describe myself is I was genuinely scared for my life. Scared, afraid, those are the two best feelings. I was devastated, and I went from scared. I went from devastation to scared. I was like, what do I, like, we didn't make it to state. Like, I'm just going to teammates, I'm going to people, like, we didn't make it to state because our judging rubric was terrible. Not terrible, it wasn't great, it definitely wasn't going to be first place Inspire worthy. And, yeah, like, and we didn't get picked for the playoffs. And my coach told me, like, I guess recently, he's like, that is the most scared I've seen you. That is the most, like, hopeless I've seen you. That's what my coach said in that moment. Like, that's how I was at that moment. We were all incredibly devastated. I especially, of course. Again, this is your last high school goal, is to go to Worlds, and it's at the top of your list. And when you don't even have the chance to check that box, when we can't even go to state to have the chance to qualify for Worlds, that is truly the most devastating feeling you can have. In that van, we go home. I don't even know, like, I think I was in like various different stages of grief, emotion. I don't know how to put it. Devastation is probably the best way to put it. Our team did not say a single word in that van. We were all quiet. We all had put in so much time, and to just see it go to waste is truly a devastation. So as I left the van, we obviously have to unpack into our room. And one of the things was that I think like our poster board that we made for our state championship last year fell, and I picked it up and I opened it. And I started crying because, we made it to state last year, and to not even make it back, to not even have that chance to complete that last goal was so devastating. So I started crying, I started breaking down in that room, and obviously I was like secretly doing it. Well, not secretly, but like I was just breaking down. I just stared at the poster board and I was just breaking down, to not even have the chance to make another poster board, to not even have at the state championship, to not even have a chance to change this mechanism or to make this adjustment to qualify for that Houston World Championship, just was a very devastating feeling. I cried, I got Chipotle. I got Chipotle to like try and get over it. Did not get over it. I ate my Chipotle, cried more, and I just went to bed. I mean, what else are you gonna do, right? Like, I can't stay up crying all night. Like, that's just not the way I am. But to get, rid of those very overflowing emotions, I, went to bed. For the next probably 2 weeks after that tournament, I was genuinely dealing with like issues. Like, I wasn't myself. I wasn't really like talking to people the way I would. Well, not in a mean way, but I just wasn't really in my positive, energetic vibe. The reason is because every time I walk into school, I have this, all I really look forward to is that FTC meeting after every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every day, right? When you walk in on that Monday, when I walked in on that Monday, that purpose didn't exist anymore. No, nothing to redesign, nothing to change, nothing to adjust on our robot, because it's over. The season's over. The dream for Worlds is over. At the end of the day, it is kind of what it is. I guess this is the nature of our team. It's like, we'll work as hard as we possibly can. We'll put in all the hours, the time, the effort, the resources. And sometimes it doesn't work out. And that's just part of life. That's just part of someone I've been. become, right? No matter how hard you may work, the outcomes that follow are sometimes out of your control. You can try your best and it just doesn't work out. Often, every robot video that you see on YouTube or, posts or whatever, all often celebrate qualifying or this sense of happiness and joy. But unfortunately, our documentary and the posts that we make now are all about how we failed at the super qualifier. But it's also about rebounding from such failure and how we will learn from, maybe not learn from it, but how do we grow and ignore this huge downfall and try and grow from that. So I think the way I'll grow from this experience is I need to kind of detach myself from these outcomes and results. At the end of the day, I need to tie myself to the process of engineering and the joy I had and the memories I had instead of this final outcome of competing at Houston. I think it's something I need to work on as a person, is detach myself from these outcomes and results that you define yourself by, or I need to detach myself from the completion of a goal. At the end of the day, sometimes our goals have to change because things don't work out the way they're supposed to, and I need to be adaptable to that. I think this is something that will haunt me for the rest of my life. Okay, let me rephrase that. This is something that will definitely affect me for a while. I think because the reality is when you put so much time into something and it doesn't work, right? Like, how can you let it go of your mind?
What has been your most memorable moments and your favorite things about being in robotics?
Definitely going to state and being in the hotel rooms because we were messing around and just having a lot of fun. So that for sure. And then also like just teaching the younger kids. It's a lot of fun to just watch them figure out CAD and watch like their head just light up.
My most memorable moment this season was when we started helping the new members code and build, since I was put in charge of that. So I feel like last year I was all new, so this year it felt good giving back to them, teaching them how to do it.
I would say one of my favorite robotics memories, and this is like kind of unexpected, is me, Rowan, and Gabe, so the kind of captains of the team, went to a coffee shop after the league tournament, so after we had qualified for super qualifier this year, and we had like a conversation about how we want to change our robot. And that conversation was it was like 3 hours about the most random stuff, but it was one of my favorite memories because I really got to connect with my teammates in a setting beyond just robotics. Through robotics, I've made some of the most lifelong friends and mentors in general, and I think that memory truly encapsulates that. Like, I don't just meet with my captains during meetings. We went over the weekend on a Sunday to go to a coffee shop to not only talk about our robot, but just life in general. We talked about just generally what was on our mind and had kind of this 3-hour conversation with each other, not just about what changes we wanted to make to the robot, but what was going on in our life. And I think it was just one of those memories that taught me that robotics is just as much about relationships as it is about robots.
What do you love about robotics?
Just building.
I love all the teammates and all the members and everyone coming together. That's what I like about robotics.
I love robotics because robotics is a team of creative minds that come together to build something that none of us could alone.